Well, hello everybody. It's Danny back from Deepsouth Homestead. Taking a break for just a moment, guys, to shoot porch time here. Woke up this morning to what was supposed to be freezing temperatures, and we praise the Almighty, it did not get down to freezing. It said we got to 33, but I went outside and looked. Nothing is hurt. Now, my truck windshield did have some ice on it, and I saw a couple of rooftops had a little patchy frost, but there was enough heat in the ground that nothing got frosted and nothing is hurt. The peas did not get hurt. I'm thanking the Lord for that. Everything seems to have fared really well. No frost on anything, nothing. And I'm out here at my little shed in front of the cabin. I've been working on planting some more. We try to have a variety of food here. We have tender greens planted. We have Siberian dwarf kale, which is right here. And we have, of course, we have the peas, which is a little bit further over right here. And but Wanda and I were talking, and I told her, I says, do we have any purple top turnips? Because the roots is where the nutrition is at, and that's what we want, you know. And so she said no. So just on the other side of this porch right here, I tilled up a little spot right here, about, I don't know, maybe 8 by 8 or something like that. And I planted some purple top turnips in it just for, excuse me, just for roots. And so that we can have a variety. We planted a few rutabagas, but I don't think they're going to do anything. They're just not looking good. But in all, we have perfect weather right now. I mean, granted, it's dusty. It's bad dusty. Hasn't rained in several weeks. The whole another week's not going to rain. When you drive on the roads, the dust just takes you over. I mean, everything's bad. It's like 3 inches deep on the ground. It's just pure dust. But that, you know, that goes with fall a lot of times. I don't have a problem with it because we can water. That's not a big issue, you know. But guys, food is where it's at right now. You know, we've got 5 construction projects going on right now. This shed being one of them, and the high tunnel is the other one over here we showed you in the video. We've got 3 more going that we'll be showing some of each one of them as we go along. But the bottom line is this: everything I'm trying to get done, and the reason I'm doing it all 5 of them at one time is because I can't get what I need to complete any one project. I have to wait for weeks and weeks to be able to get something to work on one of them with. So I'm not going to just sit. So I have them all 5 going. The big project down here, like I told you, they had told us originally the 1st of December to sometime maybe the 1st or 2nd week in December. Well, they've moved it on up to Christmas and maybe beyond now because they can't get the material to do the job that I'm wanting done. And the same thing with one of the other projects. We're having to wait weeks on material. Limb just fell out of a tree here beside me. I guess that's, I thought something other was a squirrel or something, but it was actually a limb. But, you know, so the supply chain, people say, oh, it's not broken down. Well, you try to go out and try to start doing something in mass quantity, and you'll find out just how fast this supply chain is messed up. Now, whether it's by design or whether it's just a simple fact that, you know, there's a shortage of everything, I personally think it's by design. I do believe there's shortages. I think it's a mixture of all of it coming together, which we're going to keep clicking along here. Because with all 5 projects, I can do something on most of them every day. Now 1 or 2 of them, I'm nearing completion. The shed, I still got a pretty good ways to go on it. I got to wire it, and I got to insulate it, and, you know, put the walls up on the inside of it, and I've got solar that's got to be done to it. I got a lot of stuff to do to this one. Now the high tunnel, I got to get some dirt put in it. And the outsides are pretty much done. I got to do something about the doors on each end. I haven't made my mind up as to whether or not I'm going to put the 2 big wooden doors like on our other high tunnels, or if I'm going to do a roll-up door. I just haven't made my mind up yet. And I'm in no big hurry because I don't, it's no big issue, because what's going to go in it's going to be stuff that it's going to be for cold weather anyway, so I'm not worried about it. But with all that, you know, there's so much going on around us right now that we have so many questions about. And if you really pay attention to what's going on, there's a lot of smoking mirrors. And that's probably, if I had to have a title for Porch Time today, that's probably what I would call it, would be smoking mirrors. Because what you see is really not the agenda. What's in the forefront is really not the agenda. The media, or let me put it this way, the gatekeepers of the media, they push agendas. And we all know that. It's not something that I have to convince anybody of. We all know that. The media is all biased. They're liars. You know, you can't believe a word. Propaganda, it's all in the media, but yet people they flock to it like it's one of the most amazing things in the world. And they just, every evening when the news is on, they got to listen to it and fill their brain with stupidity. And all it is, guys, is smoking mirrors. It's like this boy who, you know, and I don't get involved in all this kind of stuff. This boy who protected himself at this way back a while back, and he had to shoot 2 people to, you know, I'm not going to call any names or anything like that, you know, and he's being prosecuted because of it, and they're trying to turn this around in order to be able to prosecute this guy. They're trying to turn this around and make it into something that it's not. But the smoking mirrors part of this is the media is jumping on this like crazy and is drawing everybody's attention over here to this, when we're all sitting there, people are looking at TV wondering, was he going to be convicted? Is he going to be convicted of murder? Or is he going to be, you know, homicide? What's going to be going on? And that's not even the agenda. The agenda is taking your Second Amendment right away from you. That's what the agenda is. They're going to try to make this thing look like he was just a shooter out there shooting people, when he was, my understanding is, he was just protecting himself. That's what's going on in this country. While the media is focused on this guy, Washington has a Reconciliation Act that they're trying to get passed by Thanksgiving. They would like to get that through by Thanksgiving, and it's got part of the new Green Deal in it. It's got all kind of junk in it that will take us all down. It will boost China. It will take America down. And they're trying to slip all this stuff in while our attention is drawn over here on this other case. And that's what's happening in our country. And we're so ignorant, so many of us are so ignorant to turn the TV on and actually watch this stuff. That's why Wanda and I, we're like, we have a TV, but it never gets turned on. We don't even turn it on. We don't use it for people. What is this stuff people use? Roku or something like that. We don't do that. You know, to be YouTubers, we're about as plain and simple as anybody can get. We don't do all the fancy microphones and all this kind of stuff. Because, guys, with me, it is, you get what you get. I mean, it's real life out here. I got a neighbor over here running a lawnmower right now, and another neighbor doing something, another neighbor doing something. Music, loud junk everywhere. That's reality. And if you can't sit down and watch a video and have a little noise in the background and be able to get through it and not be frustrated and all this, you're going to die anyway. I mean, you're not going to make it because your attention is focused on things that really ain't even important. Because this is life. I mean, let's just get real here. This is what life is all about. Now, do I like it? No. I lived out here for 20 years almost in perfect solitude. I mean, it was perfectly quiet most of the time. Now, it's noise everywhere. And you know what? I don't even care if I'm quiet anymore. I just make noise because running my tractors and my Rangers and my saws and, yeah, I used to try to be very respectful and, you know, try to make sure first things in the mornings I didn't make any noise and stuff like this. But people now, they don't care. They just doing what they're doing on their property, you know? And I'm like, I told Wanda, I said, you know what, it's a moot point. Let's just do what we got to do and get it over with. And that's just life. And so many people will sit back and they focus on things that actually has nothing to do with your survival, has nothing to do with your health. It's all about your comforts and your luxuries and all this kind of stuff. And when an LCE, which is what I got a shirt on, it says LCE, when a life-changing event happens, that stuff's not going to matter anyway. All you're going to be interested in is, do I have something to eat? Do I have a roof over my head? Can I stay warm? Can I take a bath occasionally? If you go back to the 1800s and look at stuff, people didn't bathe every day. They believed it was actually harmful for you. And I'm beginning to question that. You know, I mean, like, is it really bad to wash all the bacteria off of your body? I mean, people seem to be sicker now than they were then. So you got to think them people lived a lot healthier lifestyles than we did. Of course, now they didn't have all the chemicals and stuff that we do, but you know, you just got to wonder about things. We call ourselves having technologically advanced, our healthcare system supposedly is advanced, all this stuff. And guys, the bottom line is, I believe we've digressed. Sure, people live longer than they used to live. But ask yourself the question, is the quality of life there with that longevity? Or are you sitting there with a handful of pills in your mouth every morning, swallowing a mouthful of pills? To me, I think I'd rather just go ahead and pass away. You know, I mean, I just think that life should be enjoyed. As long as you've got the health to enjoy it. And then God says in the scriptures, you know, man's only going to live to be 72 years old anyway. That's the life expectancy of a person. And if you live longer than that, it says, you know, you're going to add sorrow to your days. I mean, you get old, you start hurting. I mean, I hurt from here to the bottom of my feet every day of my life. And I told Wanda, I said, I don't take anything for it. The old people used to tell me when I was a kid growing up, if it ain't hurting, it ain't working. You know, so I don't take anything for pain. I just hurt. I told her, I said, you know what? I'm going to hurt whether I'm sitting. I'm going to hurt whether I'm working. So I'd just rather be being productive, you know, and get my mind off of all of the garbage that's out here in the world today. And it's not even, if it was decent, it might be different. But it's all just smoking mirrors. They create a situation to get your attention off over here in left field while they do something over here that's detrimental not only to you, but to your family, the existence of your family, your children, your children's children. And I mean, so anybody who sits back and believes that we're going to pull out of this mess, I don't even know how, I don't even know what to call you, because you really have no common sense about you whatsoever. I mean, we're like, what is it now? We're up to like 23 or $25 trillion in debt. Have you not read Deuteronomy in the scriptures? The curses for disobedience and the blessings of obedience. Have you not read those? To be 20-something trillion dollars in debt means that you are cursed by God. Because that's the curses for disobedience. The blessings of obedience says you will lend, you will not borrow. And guys, I don't know. I guess sometimes I'm just appalled at the thought of how people think today. And it just, I sit back and I tell Wanda, I'm like, what world are we even living in now? That people think the way they think. But then again, I look back at Scripture and I'm like, you know what? In Romans it says He turns people, when he takes his hand off of a nation, or when he curses a nation, when people are disobedient, when people are haters of God, whatever you want to call it, God said, I turn them over to a reprobate mind. And that's where we are. You know, I look at people and I see the people I've known my whole life. And I'm looking at them and they making these decisions. I'm like, I tell Wanda, I'm like, I've known these people my whole life. I never dreamed they would do this. And they make these ungodly, stupid decisions. And we say, you know what? This nation's been turned over to a reprobate mind, most people. And they don't know how to do any better. Literally, they can't think beyond a certain point or a certain way because they've been disobedient. They've not kept the commands of God, and they're part of the curse, is all I can say. You know, people say, well, you sure do speak hard and rough. I don't know any other way. That's the way my daddy taught me. My daddy taught me, you know, son, just say what is. Don't try to make up something. Don't try to sugarcoat something for people. Just tell them like it is. If they don't like it, it's their problem. It's not yours. Son, just be obedient to your father. You be obedient to the Father, and He'll take care of you through no matter what. And I have to sit here and admit that has worked my whole life. You know, I mean, I'm amazed at how good God is sometimes. When we literally do not deserve the blessings that He gives many of us. Yeah, it's amazing to me, literally amazing, that God would care so much that He would bless us as much as He does. And with all that's going on in the world today, all the smoking mirrors out there, everything that's going on, I mean, this all the way from La Palma, the volcano going on over there. What happened to Kilauea? What happened to the one in Hawaii that was so bad? And all of a sudden, I'm tired of talking about that, you know. Let's talk about another volcano. And that one still does things, and yet nobody talks about it anymore. What about the island of Hawaii? What kind of devastation did they face because of it? They quit talking about it. They moved on to something new. And that's part of the agenda. Not following through with anything to see what happened to the people, to see what happened to the island, to see what happened to their economy. They want to focus on another island now, with another volcano, with more people, so that they can keep the drama and the propaganda going. And guys, I don't know. You know, I sit back and I try to visualize each one of you guys sitting here with me. I'm just sitting here and I'm trying to visualize you're sitting here right with me, and we're talking, we're carrying on a conversation. And I tried to imagine in my mind what you would say back to me as we're sitting here talking. And it's sometimes it saddens me of some of the thoughts that comes into my mind that people might say. And sometimes I get excited because, hey, I didn't think about that. You know, and that's the beauty of the comment section down below, is that we can actually carry this conversation on, because you can comment down below and I can read it and I can comment back to you. So, you know, technology's not all bad. It's just that you always have those people out there that everything has to be perfect. Like our live stream the other night, somebody made a comment on it. We hadn't been on 3 minutes or 4 minutes or something like that. Somebody goes, "What idiot put a thumbs down already?" They're just those people out there that they're so sad. I mean, I can't imagine how miserable it must be to live like that, to where you have to do thumbs down with people. I don't do thumbs down. I mean, I think I've given one thumbs down my whole life on YouTube. I'll turn something on, I'll look at it. If I don't want to look at it, I just turn it off. I don't thumbs down them. I mean, I just don't watch it. But there are those, but they're the people who feel like, I call them armchair YouTubers. They think that, it makes them feel like they are somebody if they can do it. And I totally get it. If I was that miserable, I guess I would do that too. I don't know. I mean, I'm too active. I'm too outside here. I'm too trying to get things done for what's coming, instead of just locking myself in the house all day, behind a screen. I don't believe 99% of what I'm seeing anyway. Although I will say this, we have put up we found a link. I've been praying a lot about this thing right here, and we found lots of different links. And I said I wasn't going to do this, but y'all just keep asking, and I feel like that I should try to help you in some way. But I found a link to or Wanda did, to a particular doctor that has a lot of good information. If you've took this, and you realize that you probably shouldn't have done it, and now you're scared and everything. Well, I put a link over on Patreon about how some things you can do to supposedly, now I'm not a doctor, but supposedly this doctor tells all there is to know about that, and some things that you can do to stop the effects of that in your body. And if you're interested, you can check it out on Patreon. I can't put it over here on YouTube because they pulled it down on YouTube. But all this has been smoking mirrors. It's about genocide. Anybody who's got a half of a brain knows it's about genocide. It's about population control. I watched a video the other day of, and I'm not going to put this link up, of Bill Gates and Elon Musk, several others, talking about, and this was back. I actually watched two videos. I watched that one with Gates and Musk, and I watched one back in the early 70s that was made. Now get this. This video was made back in the early 70s, and they were talking about if something wasn't done about the population then, that by 2030 or 2025 and 2030, that the earth would be unsustainable for the amount of people that's on it. And they gave a bunch of scenarios in the 70s that that they could use to get rid of the population, because they said we've got to do something. There's just too many people, and we've got to get rid of some of these people. We've got to get our population count back down to a reasonable amount. And I was sitting there listening to that. Now this was in the 70s that this was filmed. And now we're sitting here thinking that this is something new that's come out to, here in the last few years. But guys, this has been an agenda from way back. It's been 40 or 50 years ago they've had this agenda. And we're sitting here, a lot of people's believing that this is something new when it's not. It just amazes me at how easily people can be taken in by smoking mirrors. It's like if anything is said, it's like, people jump and they're like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. How do we know it's really happening? I mean, be real. Listen, when COVID happened, everybody freaked out because they scared you to death that you was going to die. I'm going to give you some news alert, news alert, news alert. You know what? You're going to die anyway. You know, so that's the way I look at it. I mean, I'm going to pass anyway, and I'm not leaving here before God intends for me to leave here. So when Christians ran out, or God's people ran out, and they all just lined up for this thing, I sit back and I was like, do y'all not realize that you're not going to leave here till it's your time anyway? And if you get it and you pass, it was your time. Nothing takes God by surprise. And yet we sit back and people panicked. The very people that I thought would stand is the first ones that failed. Pray to the whole thing. And I'm like, wow, where is faith today? There is no faith whatsoever. All these smoke and mirrors that was thrown out there, the people that were supposed to be the salt of the earth were the very first ones to fall for it. And it makes me totally understand Revelations now when it says, let me get this right. Before I hurt somebody to get their panties in a wad, revelation. Okay, I'm from the South. We say revelations. It doesn't mean a hill of beans, people. Get a life, get real. You know, I mean, it doesn't matter. Some people say tomato, some say tomato, piano, piani, pecan. We're all from different parts of the country. We say different things. Get a life. Grow up. Quit being politically correct, because you're part of the problem. You know? I mean, let's stop and think about it. Revelations always says things that we either see or we don't see. And it's not in chronological order. John took a thought and he went with it from beginning to end. You can get over into the middle of Revelation and you can still be talking about the beginning of Revelation, because that's how John wrote the book. You don't get into the middle of Revelation and go, oh, well, we're toward the middle of the tribulation point. No, it's not written in chronological order. That's the whole thing about it. And that's where more people get messed up with the book of Revelation. And there's so much there that is good information about what we're facing today and the events of the world today, that we need to be indulging in it. We need to be digging into it. We need to be looking into it. Because everything that's going on today is there. If it's not there, it's in Ezekiel. If it's not in Ezekiel, it's in Daniel. It's in one of those three books. Everything that we're facing today. Now, it's in other books of the Bible too, but those three books are predominantly the books that are set aside for what we're facing today. So guys, I have got to get back to work here. The weather is just too beautiful. I stopped for a brief moment to shoot Porch Time here, and it's nice and cool out here. It's like 60 degrees today. I'm loving it. I mean, I'm loving the temperature. Blue skies. It's a bluebird effect up there. There's not even a cloud in the sky nowhere. I love it. Leaves are falling out of the trees like crazy. Fall is in the air. What else could a man ask for right now? Perfect weather to get out and garden and work. And guys, today, grow your own food. Stay with me, because I've got some interesting things in the next few videos that will help us to be better at growing our own food. And for those of you who keep saying, I don't have a facility to do it, stay with me, because in the future, I'm going to hopefully open some doors for some people to be able to be more sustainable. So thank you guys from Deep South Homestead.